Nobody is as passionate about this school as volunteers. And I tell you, the juice that they give me, I will continue to say this. Hope I give them as much as they give me.
We sat down and got to know the man behind the mic at UT sporting events.
Including the Legion of Merit, 5 Air Medals, 6 Navy Commendation Medals, the NASA Distinguished Service Medal, and 2 NASA Space Flight Medals, to name a few. All right, Mr. Wilmore, let's see a quick strike right down the middle.
Astronaut Butch Wilmore was welcomed back to Knoxville at Lindsey Nelson Stadium.
I spoke to the director of primary prevention to find out how you can get ahead of substance misuse.
My total idea of what I wanted to do in this field drastically changed because I thought I was going to be a reporter, and then I realized, no, I want to be a play-by-play announcer.
In a conversation with UT alum who achieved her dreams. We're bringing you international breaking news today. Pope Francis passed away on Easter Monday. Thanks for joining us for TVC News. I'm Aubrey Curran.
And I'm Kyla Bayer. We will be covering that in just a minute, but first we have a bit of breaking news on campus. Tennessee defensive end James Pierce Jr. was selected in the first round of the NFL draft as pick number 26 by the Atlanta Falcons.
This is the first round pick for the Vols since 2023. Our sports team will break it down for us later in the show.
In Rome, over 50,000 are gathered to mourn the loss of Pope Francis, who died at 88 years old. Grayson Thatcher joins us in the studio to tell us more.
Thanks, Kyla. Pope Francis died on Easter Monday at 88 years old, and Pope Francis served as the 266th Bishop of Rome and a leader to the worldwide Catholic Church since his election on March 13th in 2013. The Volunteer Channel had the opportunity to speak with Mark Bishop Beckman, who was appointed as the Diocese of Knoxville by Pope Francis.
When the nuncio called me, he said, Pope Francis has appointed you the next Bishop of Knoxville. And I remember the fear that overwhelmed me, that sense of just, God, could this be true? And I asked if I could have time to pray about that.
The bishop also noted that he had met Pope Francis during New Bishop School in September and had the opportunity to personally thank him for all that he has done for the church. The Vatican also announced that Pope Francis will be laid to rest tomorrow after lying in state for 3 days.
Thank you, Grayson.
People from across the University of Tennessee mourning Pope Francis, gathering St. John the 23rd, paying their respects and remembering his life and legacy. We spoke with Father Larry about the impact of Pope Francis.
Last night we had 75 people show up for daily mass, and I am sure that most of them were there to pray for Pope Francis.
St. John the 23rd Catholic Center hosts an active community for Catholic UT students. Our Maggie Schwerking takes us there.
The Pope passed earlier this week, sending shockwaves all over the world. Here's what some UT students had to say about his death.
Yeah, obviously it's tragic, it's sad, right? Losing a life and losing the shepherd of the church.
The Pope, who is head of the Catholic Church, died early Monday morning.
I woke up and I got my roommate up out of bed, who's also a Catholic, and told him that he'd passed away and that the timing was a little ironic.
Monday, April 21st was a day after Easter, a day representing Jesus rising from the dead. It is also a day many Christians celebrate as Jesus had made the ultimate sacrifice for our sins.
My initial reaction was, my knee-jerk reaction was people on Twitter were pulling my leg.
For some students, waking up to the news of the Pope's untimely death came as a shock, as he was seen on national television just the day before.
He was just a man of ultimate love, ultimate sacrifice, and that was shown in how much he suffered. And he did everything in his power to not take away from the season of Easter.
Student Peter Wilson prayed the night before for the health of the Pope.
Last night I had prayed a rosary for the health of Pope Francis.
Little did he know what he would find out just hours later.
Morning, and I looked at my phone and I saw he passed away, and I was just genuinely, at first I was shocked, and I had to go to Google and make sure that everything was if it was actually true.
The people of the Catholic denomination trust in God on the decision of who the next Pope will be.
we trust that the church is in good hands and that she's guided by the Holy Spirit.
In Knoxville, I'm Maggie Schwarking. Full News.
You can learn more about the Catholic Center and Vol Catholic at john23rd.org.
Our Patrick Falcon also took to Ped Walkway to get students' reactions and perspectives about the death of Pope Francis.
Hi, I'm Patrick Falcon, and I went out and interviewed students on Ped about how they felt about Pope Francis passing.
Well, I think the Pope had like a really big impact on bringing us all together as a Catholic community. So his death is definitely very sad.
Yeah, it's really sad. Obviously, his passing was pretty unexpected. He was a man of humility, and his outreach was really well known throughout the Catholic Church. So it's definitely going to be sad around campus.
I obviously think it was very unexpected, but the students, especially at the Catholic Center, have banded together very well, and we had a beautiful service for him the day of his death, and I thought that was a very good way to help cope with that death.
Well, I mean, it's really sad. He was a great person, great leader. I really admire his spiritual life.
I think it's affected me on a more personal level, but for the students as a whole, I feel like a lot of people just see it as another event in the news. I've heard a lot of discussion in classes, mainly people just joking around about it.
But I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited for the introduction, the initiation of a new pope.
I'd say it affected me some, but really not that much. It's definitely sad with the Pope's passing, but I'm just excited to see like the process unfold with the new pope.
From Patrick Falcon, TVC News Now, back to you guys in the studio.
As the world continues to mourn the death of Pope Francis, students continue to honor his legacy, knowing that his message of love and compassion will live on. And what a beautiful message that is, Kyla.
Our Luke Lamery had the chance to speak with Adam Verdugo, the former executive producer for CBS Evening News, with Nora O'Donnell, who had the last exclusive interview with Pope Francis.
They talk about talking to a man who is larger than life.
It's an honor very few had the chance to experience, an opportunity to meet the Vatican royalty, Pope Francis. That's the privilege former CBS Nightly News producer Adam Verdugo had the honor of having back in May of 2024. When Nora O'Donnell got the first and only chance to sit down with Pope Francis, Verdugo was on site for the interview and witnessed history firsthand.
Well, actually, I think, I didn't believe it. This is something that, in our world, in the TV booking world, and that's kind of where I come from, it's one of the white whales, as we say.
According to Verdugo, most major networks submit a pitch to interview the Pope, but after rejection so many times, it was simply a given they were going to get denied.
It's one, I had been at CBS for about 10 years, and I think every single year we put some sort of pitch in for the Pope. And it's one of those things you sort of do as a formality, and I think each year you try to sort of change your strategy.
After thinking that once again they were denied a sit-down with the Pope, Verdugo got a call.
It was like 5:30 in the morning, and I remember getting a bunch of missed texts and calls from our producer in Italy. And so I finally got in touch with our producer, and I think she said, "It's on." And I said, "What's on?" And she said, "The interview." I said, "What interview?"
Verdugo was blown away. He canceled an upcoming trip and took the fastest flight to Rome, prepping, coordinating, and arriving at Pope Francis's estate, Casa Santa Marta, in just days. Verdugo said when the Pope arrived to the shoot, he made it worth their while. He greeted everybody on site, relaxing the tone on set.
So I think it was a nice moment, but he did take a chance to sort of shake everybody's hand, and that was a nice touch.
However, as surreal the experience was for him, it didn't come without its challenges. Pope Francis spoke little English, and to ensure the Pope was speaking what he intended, there were 2 translators on site. They actively translated the words of both O'Donnell and Pope Francis into earpieces worn by both parties. Verdugo said it made the process a tad slow, but ensured the accuracy of the interview.
Nora asked, I think it's something like, do you like it when people call you the people's Pope? And he kind of sits there and he smiles and he kind of leans over and you can tell he's kind of like listening in his ear, but like he's leaning because he's trying to hear more what they're saying. And you can see the smile.
While the process was chaotic and quick, Verdugo says he was lucky to meet such a figure. As the Pope is laid to rest today, he remembers how kind and warm Pope Francis was to him and everyone on set.
I consider myself very lucky to be a journalist and be able to experience and meet all sorts of people from all walks of life that a lot of people don't have the chance to meet. And that's kind of one of the big reasons why I like being a journalist, where we are the front row seats of history.
For the Volunteer Channel, I'm Luke Lamory.
For those who do not know much about the late Roman Catholic leader, our Alexa Durbin has been covering this from the beginning.
She gives us a breakdown of who Pope Francis was and what comes next.
Pope Francis died at the age of 88 at 7:35 Monday in Casa Santa Marta, the place he has lived for 12 years when he became the spiritual leader of the Roman Catholic Church. We want to give you a history of who he was and what comes next. He made his last public appearance on Easter Sunday in St. Peter's Square, where he blessed thousands of people. He also spent the morning meeting U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance in his residency for a brief Easter exchange. Francis was introduced on March 13, 2013, as the 266th Pope. He led the church throughout the pandemic when the Vatican said it was locked down. We talked to the Diocese of Knoxville. They tell us he was the first Pope from the Americas and the first from the Southern Hemisphere. Pope Francis appointed Bishop Mark Beckman of the Diocese of Knoxville last year, where he had the chance to meet the Pope and thank him for what he has done for the church. Francis has suffered from chronic lung disease and died almost a month after he was released from a hospital in Rome. He was treated for 5 weeks for a respiratory infection that worsened into double pneumonia. Francis requested to be buried in a simple wooden casket. There is a 9-day mourning period that begins the day of death. During this time, cardinals from around the world will gather to share their visions for the church and the direction they should take. In 15 to 20 days, voting will begin to choose the next pope. Only cardinals are allowed to vote, which is a group of about 135. Behind closed doors in the Sistine Chapel, the cardinals will vote on paper ballots until a candidate receives 2/3 plus 1 majority. After each round of unsuccessful votes, black smoke is sent into the air. A white smoke signal will reveal that the new pope is selected.
For more of an in-depth conversation of what the voting process for a new pope looks like, visit our Instagram at TVC News Now to check out our live special, The People's Pope.
Our Vol baseball team is traveling to Baton Rouge this weekend for a big series against LSU.
Our chief weather specialist, Lauren Zaring, joins us now. Lauren?
Hey guys, for those of us traveling to Baton Rouge this weekend to watch our Vols, weather should be very warm and humid with possible thunderstorms. For Game 1 tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with temperatures reaching the mid-80s. Tonight and Saturday is when those pop-up thunderstorms will most likely make an appearance, so definitely keep your eyes on the forecast moving into the weekend. Saturday and Sunday should get up to the high 80s and even the low 90s, so definitely dress appropriately and remember those water bottles. Best of luck to our baseball team this weekend in Baton Rouge. We'll talk about our full weekend forecast here in Knoxville later in the show. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Lauren. Preventing substance misuse is something Metro Drug Coalition focuses on.
Knox County data shows that the young ages 15 to 24 are experiencing the sharpest increase in overdose deaths.
I sat down with Metro Drug Coalition's Director of Primary Prevention Services, and she tells me how they're trying to bring that number down.
Primary prevention can stop substance misuse before it even occurs.
Knox County data reports that young people ages 15 to 24 have had the highest increase in overdose deaths.
It's making it even more important than ever to recognize that these are individuals that are needing care and support and education that is helping them to lead safer and healthier lives that are hopefully free of substance misuse.
Primary prevention work is based on evidence.
Research. We are looking at things that we know long term are creating change and positive change for our youth whenever they become adults.
Prevention work to decrease substance misuse comes in many forms.
We're also trying to prevent harm. Okay, so if we think about harm reduction, we're trying to prevent binge drinking.
Binge drinking is common across all campuses, and at the University of Tennessee, many students come here on the Strip to hang out with their friends and grab a drink. But the question is, are they over-consuming?
I would say that there's definitely an overconsumption problem. I mean, sometimes you even see it around campus on a Friday or Saturday.
Director of Prevention Services at MDC says students need to stop and think.
I often encourage college students to think about what was your goal if you're choosing to use substances. What was the purpose of that?
This is where harm reduction becomes important.
We know that they are at a higher risk of already being using, and that's where we look at primary prevention as being more of a connection also to harm reduction.
Each demographic has different risk factors.
Here at MDC in our primary prevention, we're hoping to do work that is meeting each of those populations.
The director of primary prevention tells me that if you yourself or a loved one is suffering from substance misuse, help is available. She says to come as you are, and MDC will help you meet your goal or help you support your loved one on their own journey.
Scott County, Tennessee. It's a place known for its natural beauty, tight-knit community, and, heartbreakingly, one of the highest rates of opioid addiction in the state. Our Caleb Colvin sat down with a man who's lived it firsthand.
Scott County resident Justin Gibson faced a long battle with drug addiction. It first started with opioids.
Got hurt, and when I went to the doctor, that's when my pill addiction started up.
For 6 years, Mr. Gibson was cycled between opioids, snorting cocaine, and IV drug use. His opioid addiction would come to an end once he almost overdosed, but it would lead to something worse.
I overdosed. I got a fake pill one time. It wasn't what it was supposed to be, and it done me in that day. And one of my buddies had went by and seen that it was taking me longer than what it normally would have if I was didn't OD. And he stopped and he said that he came up to my truck window and I was purple, and like he started immediately beating me in the chest and everything. Finally got me come to, and so that day I put down the pills and went to a different, which is methamphetamine.
Gibson tried to fight his methamphetamine addiction, but it got to a point where he couldn't function without it.
I would be in the bathroom for hours, crying, and just wish I could beg myself not to do it because I didn't want to do it, but the other part of me was, hey, you got to have it to do anything. Before you walk out the door, you gotta have a shot of dope. If you're gonna go out and look outside, you gotta have a shot of dope.
On April 28th, Mr. Gibson will be 16 months sober. He knows he hasn't done it alone, so he's very thankful to God for helping him on his road to recovery.
If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here. I asked him to take the addiction away and help me, push forward and get out of my past and get out of my way, really, because I'm my own worst enemy. And so, God grant me the tools and the people around me now to help me through my addiction. And so I try to give back to the people that, that's going through it themselves,
In Knoxville, Caleb Colvin, Vol News.
When it comes to addiction recovery, mental health resources can be a great start. However, a mental health screening may be a little bit more complicated after drug use.
Tammy Johnson is a behavioral health expert in Knoxville who has worked with those going through recovery for years. She says oftentimes those who struggle with drug use have underlying conditions.
When somebody gets off of drugs, we find that they have underlying mental health issues. It could be depression, it could be anxiety, it could be bipolar disorder or some other, like a mood disorder. But we don't find that out until they have stopped using drugs, that those are prevalent.
Johnson says that it is important to know it could take a person about 18 months to heal their mind from drug addiction. Patience and care are essential in helping someone in recovery. Stay with us. We have more stories for you about student achievement on campus.
Just having a fresh outsider come in, I think that resonated with a lot of people.
And a special look at the newly elected student body president.
In the beginning of a leadership academy that blends communication and business.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
We are the Tennessee Volunteers. People who create connections, push boundaries, do the research that changes lives. We've got world-class academics and championship athletics. To be the best, you gotta learn from the best. And if you wanna lead, you gotta light the way. We've got what it takes. It takes a volunteer.
Welcome back. The Student Government Association has wrapped up their elections and the newly elected were sworn in yesterday. As TVC's continuing election coverage now comes to a close, I decided to sit down with our new president, Chase Darwin, asking about what it really meant for him taking on this role.
Let's give it up for our student body president candidates.
Over the past couple of weeks, TVC has been following the student body presidential elections very closely,
showing people how great it is to be here.
Covering each candidate and their interests at the campaign debate. Right until the very end when the election results were finally revealed.
Your next student body president at the University of Tennessee is Chase Darwin.
And out of 5,083 student votes, Chase Darwin received over 57% of them.
Do more with Darwin.
Do more with Darwin.
Do more with Darwin. But with such a huge voter turnout, maybe the first big question on everyone's minds starts with, what makes Chase Darwin so special?
What do you think set you apart from the other candidates?
You know, I'm not sure if anything set me apart, but I will say that my team took a very unique approach on campaigning. I'm very thankful for my campaign assistants, Caroline Powell, Griffin Aker, Reese Quinlan, and Jay Dancy.
So you say outside the SGA bubble, I mean, something people might not know is that you've actually never had experience with SGA before. So why now? Why student body president?
I just felt like I could be the person to serve as the disconnect that some students felt between SGA and the student body. And that's not to say that SGA wasn't doing a good job of trying to reach all students. It was just having a fresh outsider come in. I think that resonated with a lot of people.
I know that people say that they're kind of scared of change, like when a new elect comes in. You don't plan to change the whole government, right? You just...
No. I want to be able to use the valuable experience others have had within SGA and build off of that and continue to encourage others that haven't been in SGA, that could have been in SGA before but haven't been sought out by SGA, and try and build all those leaders together and really just make one great organization with one common goal, and that being to be the best student advocates that we can.
It's not every day that you hear of a student government president that has no prior SGA experience.
Yeah, Kyla, he really just went straight for it there, but Chase should not be underestimated. I mean, he took more than half the votes in the presidential election. I'm honestly interested to see what will have in store for us going the next semester. To watch the full interview, just search up the Volunteer Channel on YouTube.
Some breaking news for you. Just in, we're following reports of a reversal from the Trump administration. We've been following the SEVIS status changes of several students here at UT who were told they would not be able to be enrolled or employed by the university. Well, that has changed.
ICE announced that these changes will be put back as active, meaning these students will be allowed to continue to work and learn at the university. This is a manual process, however, so the reinstatements will be slow.
We will keep you updated as this story continues. The University of Tennessee is shedding light on an important issue across all college campuses: sexual assaults. They happen a lot more than you think at universities.
Our Carson Lowry shows us how they're trying to help people impacted.
April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Throughout this month, UT is putting on multiple events to raise awareness, including a Vol Walk for sexual assault.
It's a way to bring the UTK and Knoxville communities together and show our commitment to preventing sexual assault, our commitment to creating a culture of consent, and of supporting survivors.
Kaylee McMahon with the UT Center for Health and Wellness says sexual assault is one of the most common forms of sexual misconduct on college campuses. UT is using this month as a way to support victims and to educate students on sexual assault, consent, and the resources that are available to them.
Talking about consent, talking about sexual assault, as uncomfortable as it may be, we've got to be able to talk about it and raise awareness about it in order to prevent it.
Throughout the month of April, UT has a donation drive to collect needed goods for the Sexual Assault Center of East Tennessee. Lacey Bradley with the McNabb Center says needed items include clothing like sweatpants, sweatshirts, and underwear. She also says things like gum and fidget items can help give survivors a distraction.
When someone comes to us, they have had or experienced trauma, and those tools are really helpful whenever our advocates and therapists are doing grounding work.
Bradley and McMahon both say the best way for members of the community to help is to continue bringing awareness to this issue. In Knoxville, Carson Lowry, WVLT News.
Now, of course, if you're looking for ways to help, UT will be accepting donations until the end of the month. A drop-off box is located in the Student Union, room 193.
A new study at UT shows that a unique shape of maple seeds, known as helicopter seeds, could help engineers improve methods of travel.
That's something you don't hear every day. The seed's ability to spin and slowly fall to the ground allows for the seed to travel long distances, and engineers are using this flight pattern to try to improve modern aircrafts.
The Allen and Wendy Wilson Communication and Leadership Academy was dedicated a few weeks ago. Several university leaders were at the event, excited to support the new collaboration of two colleges on campus through the Wilson's gift of $4.5 million.
Our Grayson Thatcher breaks it down for us.
If I were applying for this academy when I was an undergraduate, there is no way I would have gotten it.
The Allen and Wendy Wilson Communication and Leadership Academy is a new program for thought leadership and talent development.
That to be able to lead with purpose and you guys are going to fully embody the volunteer spirit of leadership, service, and impact.
The College of Communication and Haslam College of Business have collaborated to create industry-focused leadership opportunities. The inaugural class is comprised of 20 students, including Vol News reporters Alexis Brunson and Kate Barber.
Having the Wendy and Wilson Leadership Academy and getting to have this experience of learning the business side of journalism and communications is just huge, and I can't wait to see how it helps me in my future career.
As they prepare for life after UT.
I'm just looking at ways where I can take in this last bit of information before I'm thrown into it and in my job, and I'm consumed work in my job. So definitely focusing on growing to be the best version of myself before I leave UT.
The selection committee chose the inaugural group of students based on academic excellence, campus and community engagement, and leadership skills.
Successful businesses will need to serve customers, differentiate from competitors, innovate, and develop talent. Successful people will have competence, character, and integrity is a big piece of that, and communicate effectively. I'm proud of the program that we've developed, and I'm happy to play a role.
In Circle Park, Grayson Thatcher, Vol News.
The inaugural cohort will travel to Japan next year to put their skills of communication and business professionalism to the test.
Last week, the Leo Fellows program kicked off its first inaugural cohort. The Leo Fellows program is a one-year apprenticeship made in partnership with Leo Events and the College of Communication Information and the College of Education, Health, and Human Sciences.
The Leo Fellows program is associated with the Corporate Event Strategy, Promotion, and Production minor. This minor is offered in both the College of Communication and Information as well as the College of Education, Health, and Human Sciences. There will be a new student success building built in place of Melrose Hall. The groundbreaking ceremony was held yesterday to celebrate the start of construction.
Thank you everybody for coming today. I'm going to ditch the script and go quickly because there's not that much more to say.
The new building will house the Academic Success Center, University Honors and First Year Experience Offices, the Veterans Success Center, and Veterans Benefits Administration, among many other programs.
The building will also contain additional classrooms, student lounges, and common spaces. Construction is estimated to be finished in fall of 2027. Now, if you don't recognize this face, you definitely know his voice. DJ Pearl, Sterl the Pearl, has been bringing the energy to campus for years now.
Yeah, our Alexa Durbin sat down with the DJ and learned more about him and where his infectious energy comes from. What do you got for us, Alexa?
That's right. Sterl the Pearl is quite the character. And that's what you may know him as, but you may not know him as Sterling Hinton, a former UT quarterback who played for the Vols from 1987 to 1990. He made his return to Rocky Top 12 years ago to DJ at most sporting events, where he fires up Vol Nation day in and day out. Feeding the floor, they feed you.
Let's go, baby. Everybody hungry. Come on, it's a smorgasbord out there. Eat. More eat, more energy. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. It is an honor to serve, first of all. And I'm blessed that they let me serve in that capacity. And everything I do is for them. You know, it's for the fans.
What's your secret to getting that juice up there? Well, how does the energy flow? Where does it come from?
You know, it's amazing. People think I give them the energy, you know, and they give it to me. You know, it's just the love that you have in Vol Nation, baby. Don't get it twisted. Vol Nation is a privilege to be a part of, and I'm thankful. So I hope I'm giving them as much energy as they give me.
Me being in the stands for a few years now, that is a true testament. Yeah. And you've been there for several years. Yeah. This might be a crazy question, but what is your favorite memory, either being on the field, in the stands, in front of the stands?
Oh, hey, we've had some times in Neyland when I played in time we went out to UCLA and beat them underdogs by 20-some points, and we beat them on my birthday. And that was an awesome time, and scored a touchdown that game. But the 2022 Alabama game, that moment in Vol history, being there and just watching the reaction and feeling that energy and all those people jumping on that field the way they did, and the smiles on people's faces, that was a moment in time that I'm quite sure people still reliving and push and play.
What is your message to students who go here right now, who are coming here in the future, just the students, what it's like for you to be able to connect with them and hype them up day in, day out?
I'm all encouragement. I want the best for everybody. I want more for everyone else than I ever would have. So if I can get that joy in somebody's spirit and you pushing it for the Power T, it makes it harder for any school to come here and think they can get a win. And that's what it's all about. And that's what it's academically, physically, athletically, period. Tennessee, you can't go top without the Power Team. We plan on going there and staying there.
You're in the classrooms, you're on the field, you're on the court, you're everywhere, and Vol Nation thanks you for bringing that energy.
And I'm thankful for Vol Nation. Thank you.
He told me he got his nickname Sterl the Pearl when he was playing basketball at a young age, and it's stuck ever since. He also found his passion for playing music at the turntables when he was just 8 years old. But that passion is greater than ever, getting to play music for Vol Nation for many years now. Now that you know more about the man behind the mic, be sure to keep your ears open for his voice the next time you're in Neyland Stadium.
DJ Sterl the Pearl is definitely someone you can never forget. Thank you, Alexa.
Now this is sad news. A staple is closing down on Cumberland. Golden Roast closed its doors this week.
Golden Roast was a coffee shop treasured by students and Knoxville citizens as a place of community. It is the second local coffee shop to close this year.
A lot of people here enjoyed the coffee here and had really good memories with friends and, you know, maybe doing homework.
We're sad to say goodbye to Golden Roast, but look forward to the next business to fill the space.
We all know parking around the Old City can be frustrating, especially with the new Smoky Stadium that seats around 7,000 fans who are all looking, you guessed it, for a parking spot.
Tim Zitzman has decided to take matters into his own hands, leasing several parking lots on his own that otherwise would have sat empty on game days, and giving those businesses a percentage of his sales.
Our Carson Lowry tells us more.
A University of Tennessee student has turned downtown Knoxville parking into a business opportunity. Junior Tim Zitzman started his business, Southeast Parking, as a way to make money and provide more parking options for Smokies games.
I just noticed how much people were charging for parking, and I thought, well, it'd be a good way to get into it, is to try and do it myself. And I had a friend of a friend who had a parking lot that was just free parking, and they let me use it to try and start my business. And since then, we've expanded to about 20 locations.
Zitzman leases these parking lots from local business owners, including the president of Graining Paint, Ken Adams, who says he hopes this new parking situation will bring in new customers.
Just having new people here in that, we feel like if they need paint, they'll know where we are and come and see us again. You know, just kind of something extra that's been fun to do.
Zitzman splits a percentage of the revenue with the businesses he leases from. He says it's a nice way to give back to those businesses that have been around for a long time.
The more parking lots I get, the cheaper I can make everything, and just expand it as much as possible.
Really doing great work right there. I'm always looking for parking. Zitzman said he plans to continue this business following graduation, and right now he leases 20 lots and has 3 more in the works.
The prices to park on game days range from $10 to $20 depending on how close you are to the stadium. But on non-game days, they drop to around $2 to $3. Coming up, sports on Rocky Top and in Knoxville. The Lady Vols move up to number 1 after 2 on-the-road wins in the SEC.
And a photographer attacked by an eagle? You were at their reunion.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
We are the Tennessee Volunteers. People who create connections, push boundaries, do the research that changes lives. We've got world-class academics and championship athletics. To be the best, you gotta learn from the best. And if you wanna lead, you gotta light the way. We've got what it takes. It takes a volunteer.
Welcome back to TVC News. Now, as I'm sure you've all heard by now, Nico Iamaleava recently said, "I'm a-leavin'" after walking out on Tennessee football, and let's just say the fans were not too happy.
Yeah, they've all been coming up with creative ways to get rid of their jerseys, but one local sports team decided to add a different solution to this problem by offering a trade.
It was a trade for 8 event, as they called it, and I attended it last weekend. Here's what they had to say.
He never even got to wear his. He got it for Christmas.
Oh, what a great trade. Get a nice one.
And with the old,
Want to make a trade?
out with the new.
We care about this place, we have pride in this place, and we knew that last week there were some sad Knoxville sports fans with the departure of one of our athletes, so we wanted to kind of turn that negative into a positive.
Knox Brew Hub hosted a Trade for 8 event in collaboration with the One Knox soccer team to give fans an opportunity to not let that Tennessee pride go to waste.
Invite people in, be a part of the One Knox family, trade your number 8 jersey in, and we'll give you one of our own.
A couple weeks ago, Nico Iamaleava left Tennessee football with his jersey behind. Now fans who used to wear his number are making a trade.
Pro soccer, we play in a league called USL League One, and we're here for Knoxville. We're kind of Knoxville's professional team.
But from football to soccer, what's the connection there?
Just 10 minutes from the half.
Just pride for the city of Knoxville, according to these Tennessee
Sport in
fans.
Knoxville is really exciting, and having an opportunity to do that, especially with One Knox, is super exciting for sure.
I just wanted to make the trade to support a local team that supports us, to give back to them, not support someone that turns their back on us.
My son plays high school soccer, so we've been kind of looking into coming and watching a game. So we're really excited about supporting them and having a new opportunity for some sports in Knoxville.
Which is why showing up to the next game, there's no question about it.
I've actually just bought student tickets with the university for their home opener coming up. So.
Because being a Vol is bigger than supporting Tennessee football.
Let's go out. I'll get tickets for the game next
Do you? Awesome. We'll see you there.
It's about supporting the Knoxville community as well.
So you want to say about Tennessee?
In Knoxville, I'm Aubrey
Go
Curran.
Vols.
Vol News.
You're welcome.
You know, Josh Heupel said it best, no one is bigger than the Power T, and I think the story really proved that, Kyla.
I agree, Aubrey. I mean, Nico has left, and the Tennessee spirit is high as it's ever been.
If you feel like joining these fans and supporting One Knox Soccer, you can attend their home opener tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Covenant Health Park.
But also still save some of that spirit for our Tennessee sports, because it's about time for a Rocky Top Sports Report.
Luke and Lily join us now in the studio.
Thanks, guys. It's been a busy last 2 weeks on Rocky Top, and we're here to catch you up on all of it. I'm Luke Lamery.
And I'm Lily Van Allsburg. Let's start with some volunteer football. Breaking last night from the NFL draft, former Tennessee player James Pierce Jr. got picked 26th in the NFL draft.
Yeah, by the Atlanta Falcons. It was a truly impressive performance there. James Pierce Jr. going off the board in the first round. What we can tell you is that we are going to take a quick break, I think, and come back in just a moment.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
We are the Tennessee Volunteers. People who create connections, push boundaries, do the research that changes lives. We've got world-class academics and championship athletics. To be the best, you gotta learn from the best. And if you wanna lead, you gotta light the way. We've got what it takes. It takes a volunteer.
Breaking last night from the NFL draft, former volunteer James Pierce Jr. was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. He was selected in round 1, pick number 26. Pierce Jr. had an impressive resume at Tennessee, compiling 19.5 sacks, 71 tackles, and 79.5 tackles for loss. He was the only volunteer to get drafted in the first round.
Yep, late last week, Josh Heupel told the team they were moving on from Nico Iamaleava. After he was apparently asking for more NIL money, Tennessee decided they weren't going to give it to him.
Iamaleava was asking for approximately $4 million in NIL money. and $1.5 million increase from his previous $2.5 million.
Iamaleava entered the transfer portal and decided to transfer to UCLA, taking less money than he was making at Tennessee. Now, the Iamaleava family said it was never about the money. A lot of drama unfolding late last week, Lily.
It sure did.
Now, if it couldn't get any more chaotic, Josh Heupel and company brought in a new quarterback from guess where? None other than UCLA, the spot that Iamaleava transferred to. Quarterback Joey Aguilar will be joining the Vols after the UCLA depth chart filled up fast.
What a way that went down. Aguilar spent 2 seasons at Appalachian State before transferring to the Bruins. Now he's joining the Volunteer quarterback room, where he's expected to be a starter in front of two very inexperienced quarterbacks. Aguilar joins Jake Merklinger and George McIntyre in the quarterback depth chart.
Aguilar proved himself at Appalachian State, compiling the single-season record in passing yards, passing touchdowns, completions, and attempts.
After not seeing the same success at UCLA, he joins a young chart of backups. Merklinger was a consensus 4-star recruit out of high school. He attempted 9 passes for 48 yards in all of 2024.
McIntyre was a consensus 4-star recruit out of high school and has yet to make his Tennessee debut.
Transitioning to the softball diamond, the Lady Vols softball team are on a heater after taking down some top names. They shot up #1 in the nation after away wins in Norman against #2 ranked Oklahoma and in Austin against #1 seeded Texas.
However, after losing a midweek game to Clemson on Tuesday in extra innings, they can expect to drop back in the rankings. Lady Vols softball heads on the road yet again as they travel to Oxford, Mississippi for a series against Ole Miss this weekend.
If you're a college sports fan, then you know the voice of Courtney Lyle. The play-by-play announcer for ESPN started right here at the University of Tennessee, and that is just so awesome. I got to talk to her about her journey.
Edwards, top of the key with the 3!
Before ESPN, Courtney Lyle was a UT student with a dream.
Those connections at Tennessee and getting that opportunity to help those programs as a student and to learn, that really springboarded me to my career eventually at ESPN.
Lyle began learning under former voice of the Vols, Bob Kessling, when she was only 15.
We're really proud of Courtney, and she was so driven really from the first day I met her when she was in high school.
She is known for her knowledge of the game and incredible storytelling. But what made her stand out was her persistence.
Kind of working that puzzle throughout the game of seeing what fits here.
It was not only her hard work that led her to where she is today, but also her love for what she does.
She loves to dig up the stories and talk to the coaches, and she's just a natural.
One of the things Lyle is most happy about achieving is having her own package for college football every week.
There are not very many female play-by-play announcers on college football. It was very hard to break into that, and I'm so fortunate that ESPN gave me an opportunity.
One goal she hopes to achieve hits close to home.
I mean, I went to Tennessee, so it would be really cool to call a Tennessee football game. That would be amazing.
From Rocky Top to one of ESPN's top announcers, Lily Van Allsburg, Vol News. Courtney Lyle's story proves that with passion, persistence, and a start in Tennessee, anything can happen. Keep up with Lyle's journey on ESPN and at her Instagram at Sportney_Lyle.
In other news, Rick Barnes is making shockwaves in the transfer portal after picking up one of the top recruits in Tennessee history. Nate Ament is a 5-star small forward, joining a list of top 5 recruits in Tennessee history that consists of Tobias Harris and Allen Houston. On3 Rankings has Ament at 99, a 99 grade and a top 3 recruit in the country.
That's pretty impressive. Now for Tennessee baseball, they faced it off against Kentucky this weekend in a series at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. After taking a commanding 8-2 win on Friday, the Vols took a tough loss on Saturday and Sunday to lose the series. However, they bounced back on Tuesday with an 11-7 win against Lipscomb in 7 innings.
After taking a commanding 8-2 win on Friday, the Vols took tough losses on Saturday and Sunday to lose the series. However, they bounced back on Tuesday with an 11-7 win against Lipscomb in 7 innings.
The Vols face number 7 ranked LSU this weekend in Baton Rouge. The first game of the series is tonight at 7:30 p.m. Be sure to tune in.
In other news, a Tennessee alum and astronaut made his return to campus and threw the first pitch at a baseball game. Our Sophie Starkey has the story.
The Vols are back after a weekend away, and they are not the only ones who returned home tonight.
Vol Nation welcomed back NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore as he threw the first pitch at his alma mater. A native of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Wilmore earned his master's at the University of Tennessee in Aviation Systems at the UT Space Institute in Tullahoma, part of the UT College of Engineering. After his extended 9-month stay with SpaceX, Wilmore was welcomed back with thunderous applause as he sported the Power T. Reporting from Lindsey Nelson Stadium, I'm Sophie Starkey.
Well, it was great seeing Butch back in town, and my goodness, Lily, he's got an arm on him, doesn't he?
He sure does. It's great to see him back.
Yep. Coming out of Allen Jones Intercollegiate Aquatic Center, the Tennessee Swim and Dive team has added 2 new dive coaches in place of former head dive coach Dave Parrington, who retired earlier this month.
To replace Parrington as head coach, Jane Figueiredo is a 2-time Olympic champion coach, and her divers won medals in every Olympics from the year 2000 to 2024. Truly an impressive resume that would take all to show to list.
Breaking minutes ago, Tennessee Swim and Dive also promoted Mike Wright to assistant diving coach, a former 2010 USA Diving National Champion. A lot of exciting stuff for Tennessee Swim and Dive.
Sure is. The Volunteers have repeated an attendance record across football, men's and women's basketball, all during the 2024-25 season.
They also accomplished this feat in 2023 and 24, a total of 1,234,843 fans. Tennessee took first over Michigan by 99,000 people. Tennessee took first over Michigan, and Lily, I mean, my goodness, that's an impressive attendance record.
Impressive 2 years in a row. That's all we have for sports this week. Back to you, Aubrey and Kyla.
Thank you, guys.
If you were in attendance of the Knoxville Smokies opener last Tuesday, you may remember Lincoln the Bald Eagle flying over it.
Of course, and then you'd also remember when he came in for a surprise landing on one of our student photographers, Ryan Beatty. The incident attracted lots of attention from local news outlets, but the American Eagle Foundation decided to take it a step further by asking Ryan back to meet Lincoln for a second time the right way.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be in attendance of this little reunion, and let me tell you, it was definitely something you wouldn't want to miss. Take a look.
So he knows Philadelphia Stadium very, very well. It's just sometimes new stadiums when he's not familiarized with.
The American Eagle Foundation has been training eagles to do flyovers at events for years. Lincoln, the bald eagle, was no exception, and for him, the Knoxville Smokies opener was just another routine flyover.
He was trying to find a safe zone and to land.
Normal until Ryan Beatty decided to raise his arm to snap a photo.
And during that time, we saw your arm go up.
And just like that,
He thought you were someone he could trust.
down came Lincoln.
Yeah, he came and he landed on my back, and I was like, no shot, that just happened. I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe that it happened. It wasn't real.
It was an incident so rare, the foundation decided to invite Ryan in to give him a better first impression.
Remember this guy?
Yeah, I remember him. Do you remember me?
Although Lincoln's handler did reveal that this has actually happened one other time before, with their previous flyover Eagle Challenger.
Actually, even flew on someone's back as well during MLB. Actually, since it was part of that, it got recognized so much during ESPN and other articles, they actually made a bobblehead.
I think it's safe to say that Lincoln and Ryan have made amends since that fateful day. Maybe even a little more than that.
It's nice to meet you, Lincoln. I forgive you, bud. We're friends. Yeah, I forgave him, so we're doing all right. I can't be mad at the guy. He's pretty cute.
I think Ryan might be sensing a bobblehead in the near future. Well, that and a great story to tell from here on out.
But, you know, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, so it's definitely a cool experience that I'll carry with me forever.
And Lincoln?
So he knows that he did part of this, we're talking, and he's like, all right, I did it.
Well, he's just glad to be here.
In Knoxville, I'm Aubrey
Bye,
Curran,
Lincoln.
Vol News.
What a fun story that was. Ryan also wanted to make it clear that he wasn't scared or hurt by Lincoln. He actually just thought it was a pretty cool experience. He even told me his work friends are now calling him Captain America.
I think the funniest thing for me was watching him stare at the bobblehead. I'm sure his eyes lit up when he heard about that one.
Oh, they sure did.
When we come back, we spoke to experts about how caffeine affects the body. What is too much and what can students do for more energy?
And we'll get students' opinions on a long-standing UT tradition.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
We are the Tennessee Volunteers. People who create connections, push boundaries, do the research that changes lives. We've got world-class academics and championship athletics. To be the best, you gotta learn from the best. And if you wanna lead, you gotta light the way. We've got what it takes. It takes a volunteer.
Welcome back, Vols. Let's talk about our weekend forecast here in Knoxville. Looking ahead, we are in for a pretty stormy weekend. Today has been partly cloudy, and we might see some scattered thunderstorms and showers later this evening. Temperatures will be sitting in the upper 60s and the lower 70s for most of the day today. Tomorrow should look pretty similar, partly cloudy skies with scattered showers and possible thunderstorms. Temperatures for Saturday will get up to the mid-70s and drop to the mid-50s. Sunday should give us a little break from the gloomy weather and the humidity. Partly cloudy skies will turn into sunny skies in the afternoon. Temperatures will reach a comfortable 75 degrees. With the possibility for thunderstorms this weekend, make sure to keep an eye on the forecast for any severe weather updates. That is all the weather I have for you this weekend. I'm Lauren Zaring. Let's get back to the desk.
Thanks, Lauren. The University of Tennessee is known for its traditions and superstitions.
Our own Caitlin Kirkpatrick is here with us to tell us more about it. Caitlin?
Thanks, guys. In August of 2014, the University of Tennessee seal was placed on pedestrian walkway, thus beginning the tradition of not stepping on the seal. Freshmen are welcomed onto campus during orientation, and they are warned about this superstition. Freshmen Gracie and Nicole believe in the superstition and have never stepped on the seal in fear of not graduating.
I don't know if I necessarily believe it, but I think it's cute and I like it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a nice way for everyone to get together, school spirit.
But there is another tradition with the seal where seniors get to take their first step on it during their senior photos. Seniors have been doing this for years now, and it has become a staple of pedestrian walkway. Elia Nucciani, senior at UT, believes in the superstition of not stepping on the seal until your senior year.
If you step on the seal, you definitely won't graduate.
But Ellie did take her first steps on the seal earlier this week and is doing it again for her senior photos.
We did group pictures, and I did it for the first time, and it was pretty scary.
Although not everyone believes in the myth, Elena, a senior, says she steps on it every day and is still on track for graduating this year.
I think it's a very weird superstition, and I step on it every day.
If you want to learn more or check out other traditions, go to utk.edu/about/tradition-history. With Vol News on Pedestrian Walkway, I'm Caitlin Kirkpatrick. So even though not everyone believes in the myth, the seal is still a beloved part of the University of Tennessee. Do you guys believe in the seal's myth?
You know, honestly, I'd never heard of it before, but I'm just going to take these students' word for it because I definitely don't need any bad luck with school at the moment. Thanks, Caitlin. Speaking of school, on days I know I'm going to need to get any work done, I know I need my caffeine dose first.
But how do we know when too much is too much? Our Zach Pelfrey spoke to some experts.
Caramel macchiato for Tara.
People need their daily cup of coffee.
Every day. Yeah, probably every day. Sometimes twice.
But sometimes there's such thing as too much caffeine.
My brother had some bad experience with caffeine, like heart problems and stuff, so I believe there's some downsides to it.
It's even causing a loss of sleep.
I do not get enough sleep. I get like a good 6 hours a night probably.
With people cramming for those final exams and not getting enough sleep, they start to substitute for one thing: caffeine.
Lee Murphy, a registered dietitian, states that there is a healthy amount of caffeine.
Like over 400 might be pose dangerous is the bottom line, but a purely safe amount would be less than 200.
With caffeine, there are some side effects.
Sometimes, everybody kind of knows the true side effects of just being kind of on edge or extra sensitive to things.
However, caffeine is not all bad. There are benefits to it.
Like I said, from a sports nutrition standpoint, it can help you do better in races and focus on your workouts and, have the to, okay, I'm going to go work out.
It's all about moderation.
As in everything in nutrition, moderation is the key word.
In Knoxville, Zach Pelfrey, Vol News.
Finding more time to sleep as a college student is definitely easier said than done, but it may be worth it in the long run.
Yeah, and that's sadly all we have for you today. Follow us at Instagram at TVC News Now for the latest updates. I'm Aubrey Curran.
And I'm Kyla Berry. Tune in to our last studio show for the semester next Friday, May 2nd, and have a great weekend. Go Vols.